Okay, so
Well, nothing happened this week, so this is going to be a
nope.
really short podcast.
Later, everybody. Yeah. I mean, listen. You look at the list of Evo announcements that came through over the last 72 hours, and it reads like a wish list of shit that has this podcast has been whining and complaining about for fucking years now, essentially. Um, I mean, I really do. I'm looking at it, and it's like just about everything I wanted to happen happened, and there's now fewer things that I want that have not happened than there are the other way around. My list of things I want from fighting games is down to like the shortest it's ever been because we're going and
Yeah, it's everybody got what they wanted with one very bizarre, notable exception.
absolutely, and we're gonna get there. I happened to catch live, and it was hilarious because the memes of Squidward looking out, the memes of Aunt Vivian and the sisters coming together and just like celebrating, it's real. Like everyone, has looked around. Japan has finally said, okay, 2022 is the year we make contact. We have decided that you're bickering, you're bitching, you're moaning, you're spamming up the chat every time we try to say anything about a game with the word rollback. We don't want to hear that shit anymore. We're sick of the word rollback. Fuck it. Everyone's getting rollback, right?
See, I didn't get that feeling actually. I feel like that decision was actually made at Arc System Works like a while ago, as they started just going through their
Yes.
roster.
Yes, I'm
And the,
dramatizing for fun, but of course, the decisions to make these things go forward, we saw them come through on the products that came out first that were able to be built with it integrated. But any games that are not old enough to emulate, that are more modern, running on like Unreal or any engine that requires you to retrofit rollback in a more aggressive way, are very difficult because I mean, not to do the whole thing again, but essentially, if your game is not built to run like extra threads of its game logic without, like that are not just on both sides of the connection and that don't have any graphics being rendered, essentially, you're gonna have a really hard time. I know that, over at ArcSys, like when it came to like what to do with Strive, in a lot of cases, the default out of the package Unreal is not built in such a way that it's going to allow you to just get those extra and that extra third thread going. So they had to from scratch like basically do the entire thing and build it up in such a way that it would support rollback. So games that rolled out that didn't consider this, it's a very expensive and complicated procedure. That being said, that doesn't matter when it like we're going on again 2009 2010 when this problem was first identified and introduced. So as much as I feel bad when a game is like, hey, we didn't plan for this, it's like, yeah, but you had no excuse to not plan for it when let's say you started 5 years ago. We knew this was a problem 5 years ago. You didn't. These games came out all after that. But if unless your game started development in 2008, there's no real excuse to just pretend you never heard about this stuff. So,
Meanwhile, Harada's over here telling you that it had rollback the whole time. What the fuck are you talking about?
well, so that too even has its place where it's like, as you can see, because Code Mystics has done a really great job with the King of Fighters games, and they've shown off and explained exactly how it works, and they've shown off that you can basically have your delay. You can have games that are a hybrid of delay based and rollback based, and you can increase one or increase the other, and then of course the input that you have that increases delay as well will help for smoother matches, but be less responsive when you play. So it seems as if, like, in those cases, like, yeah, Harada's, and we've seen badly implemented rollback before, and there's a lot of cases where they're like, no, this is rollback, and it's like, yes, but it's not working. It doesn't matter if you...
free.
It doesn't matter if it has it a name. What matters is that it doesn't work. You don't feel it, right? Street Fighter also was like, oh no, we're doing it. We have rollback, and it's like, no, this feels terrible. What's happening here? You know, and like it's like, oh
People
well,
are saying rollback, but what they really mean is good.
yeah, like it's like Street Fighter Five. Yes, it did have rollback, but then as soon as the match started, one player would be 1 or 2 frames off, and then that amount would increase as the match went on, so that by the end of a longer match, it would desync entirely, but still try to roll back to a neutral state that doesn't exist. Yes, that's rollback, but it's poorly implemented, so the end result doesn't matter. All this to say that they want it working, they want it good. That's the thing. Like Marvel Infinite had it working, then we went backwards.
So, where are we at? We got Street Fighter is going to have
right.
the Marvel Infinite good shit. So Street Fighter is safe in my heart.
Well, here, so Evo announcements dropped. I mean, first one, and I'll shout this out because it's pretty cool. Arcade 1UP has been doing these little private arcade cabinets you can buy, small, made for if you don't have the real estate to put a giant full-sized cab up. You can get one of these smaller ones that's, almost like the size of like a bigger laptop, and then it just kind of come like up off the ground up to like chest height. Fun stuff, and they finally announced Marvel 2. So that's cool. That's a really fun game to have an arcade 1UP for. I definitely support that as a, arcades are dead, but there's a specialized company that's doing them, and they're doing them with space in mind. Because if you are a part of the cabinet club, you're probably either kind of insane or like
you're definitely insane to still have an arcade cabinet.
Or you've worked out some crazy deal with your significant other or your roommate for why this ridiculous aggressive space killer is in your house. But these are not that. So Marvel 2 available now on Arcade 1UP. That's great. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax told us when it first came out a while ago that in the summer they would drop the rollback update. It has now dropped. So they delivered on that promise, and I've gotten word. I haven't been able to touch anything since I've been out, but I've gotten word that it's good. I see it,
So, I mean, Strive's netcode is excellent. So I feel confident that anything out of Arc System Works that they are going to add their own version of Homebrew netcode to is likely. No, why are you shaking your head? Why are you shaking your head?
It's on the publisher. It's the publisher is the money is what determines whether they're going to take a look at it and do that or not, right?
No. I'm saying Arc System Works development. If they are going to put it in, I expect it to be good. Not the decision ahead of time.
Yeah. Yes. And in this case,
like DBZ, I'm not worried.
So in this case, it seems as if the decision was made like too late for the game to launch with it. But once the decision is made, it seems like it's going to be implemented properly. Yes, that is what we are looking at. Hopefully, rollback.
They had to keep explaining to Atlas over and over that rollback netcode did not allow people to actually stream the game. That they could still ban people from streaming the game. It would just be to how to play it, and then Atlas eventually capitulated.
But if they have good connections, that'll mean that they'll be able to stream it to other people at the same time.
Oh, shut up, Atlas! I'm so tired of you.
We need bad connections. So, anyway, Ultimax.
Literally talking about how mad I am at Atlas with Paige last night, apropos of nothing. Just sitting there getting mad at Atlas for being stupid.
Stegosaurus. Then a new fighting game was teased called Umbral Core, which is a really funny name because my brain just immediately says Umbrella Core. And it's like, no, it's Umbral Core. And it's like...
that, weirdly enough, makes me think of like a fucking Final Fantasy thing.
Really?
God damn, that is for a name that is so strange, that is actually like very similar to a lot of other stuff.
Okay. I mean, essentially, it's an indie fighting game that showed off. It has like, one stage and one character, so they kind of just gave you a look at what they're doing. The trailer more or less kind of introduced that it's going to be like, a dark and kind of grim dark was used to describe the setting in the trailer for it.
Oh, I'm looking at Byron the Nero
And
gameplay.
Yeah, so a new indie fighting game introduces itself, and right away in the trailer, it's like, we're gonna do best practices. So one, rollback, of course. Two, frame data in the game, online training mode, hitboxes displayed, all that stuff. So it's like, yeah, it looks like they're there, they get it. Yeah, I'll take a look at
it. This genuinely looks like a Bloodborne fighting game that they took the IP out of.
I mean, to me, it looks like an episode of Get Into Fighting Games. Like, it just,
oh yeah,
straight to the WoolieVersus platform, of course. So that's dope. And then, yeah, we got confirmation that Guilty Gear Strive shipped 1 million units worldwide, and that's a pretty big deal for them.
Hey, now, there's a little golf claps for Strive.
Well, it's interesting because I saw some feedback where people were like, "Wait, that's it?"
I'm kind of like, "That's it" myself.
Well, so the thing to understand is that don't let the impossible bars that Capcom set for their games reflect what other fighting game companies are doing. Capcom going, we want 2.5 million or it's a failure, is some dumb shit when Guilty Gear has had a fraction of that be their lifetime sales on previous entries, right? Guilty Gear is used to selling hundreds of thousands of copies at best. It's been that way the entire time. Even Exerd, right, when you count Sign, Revelator, and Rev 2, didn't hit that threshold, and that's like 3 updates included. So no, it's a pretty big deal for a Guilty Gear game to hit that, and they're obviously really happy about that shipping number. Of course, the entrance as well to Evo showed off that like this is also the premier fighting game right now. It's probably the last year of Street Fighter V, but Strive was the final show. It was the biggest entrance, and it was the final of the night. So, yeah, it's cool to see it get that spotlight after being, this kind of like side franchise that's really rad, but not the big spotlight. You get to see
Guilty Gear.
Yeah, there's a really wholesome clip that Esteban, shoutouts to Hold Back to Block, filmed of Daisuke sitting in the audience while the entire crowd is screaming, "That is bullshit blazing, still my heart is blazing," and like singing the lyrics to Smell of the Game, and he's just looking around like, "Oh shit, okay," like he kind of had he caught it right as he was like, "Hey, oh," like I love that. It's nice to see fucking Guilty Gear arrive, very cool. You could feel the smile through the mask. So good for them.
Yeah, it's all in the eyes.
Yeah.
All in the eyes. The eyes get real big.
Then we got confirmation, embrace rollback. Samurai Showdown is getting rollback.
So, man, I'm going to say it here. I want good netcode and good rollback for everything, obviously. Sam's show needed it by far the worst.
It's the most it's like the worst case of this is so fun, this is the only problem.
And boy, oh, you mean a game in which a single counter hit can just like outright kill me? Has bad reaction time?
You cannot fuck around. Yes, exactly. It is a game where there are decisions that are fewer and more crucial every single time you make one. It was one of those ones that came out right in that like, oh, it's the new era, but you were not paying attention and you weren't caring too much about how this would be received overseas. And it had one of the worst online situations going
Oh
on.
yeah, no, it's
People, again, the tournament scene more or less arrived on using Parsec on neutral servers to get their tournaments going, and they jumped through as many hoops as they needed to because the game is that fun. But and we're back, we're in there. So yes, that is coming. Dear God, I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy that the fucking game is great. It deserves it. Here you go. You can give it another chance at life. In fact, something that's going to be interesting is like all these games getting it now that like rollback not being in there almost like gave an excuse to be like, okay, I don't have to worry about like playing this game, getting good at it, or even focusing on it too much. It was a means of filtering the amount on your plate, You could just look at fucking Grand Blue and just scrape it off the plate. But now it's back on the menu.
Well,
so
no. You scrape it back. Don't pick it up out of the trash yet. You leave it there. You do not put that back on your plate.
Okay, but
no matter how much money they offer you.
There's a lot that you can put back on your plate, right? It's not just about rollback though. So Samurai Showdown is getting that. Meanwhile, King of Fighters 15 is getting crossplay, another feature that is desperately needed. Before it was about about Sony, Microsoft, trying to get them to play nicely with each other. But we've seen the examples. We've seen Power Rangers was able to negotiate this. Why can't bigger, more established fighting game franchises do so? And now we get that. So KOF in particular, a game where, you want as many people not worrying about the platform choices on this as possible, because it's not going to do gangbusters numbers. Like, if you have a handful of people online on PC, a handful of people online on PlayStation, they're going to have a rough time getting decent matches, and you're also trying to match skill levels and such. You want the player pool to expand as much as possible.
I mean, I have a stupid question here. Oftentimes, consoles can be popular based on their region. Like Sony's consoles have been more popular in Japan, for example, and the Xbox is more popular in the Americas. What console right now is most popular in Mexico? I don't know.
Probably PC?
But whichever one it isn't, desperately needs that crossplay if they want to keep playing King of Fighters.
I imagine it would be PC. Now, the thing, of course, is this brings a whole other issue to the table, in that console versions of games that run off of Unreal automatically come baked in with input delay. And until that is fixed by Unreal, there's very little that can be done about that. So just about every fighting game recently that came out on consoles and Steam, the Steam version is going to be the one where you get the least amount of input delay on, and it allows you to be a bit more responsive. And if you're playing cross-play with somebody...
with one notable exception, on PlayStation, on PS5, I think the new Guilty Gear patch has the input latency down to 2.5.
It's so they're starting to address that. I want it to be fixed on an engine level, of course, because then we don't have to, worry about other games being like ArcSys can fucking run that magic, but I don't know and trust in that every other company is going to be able to do so with their games.
Well, here's just hoping Unreal Engine 5 has it fixed, because they're not going to be going back to fix shit in 4.
Yeah, so that's it. But still, crossplay, great feature. Great for especially new players and intermediates. Anyone who's at that level where you want to fight people that are closer to your skill level. You want to get more matches. You want to get better matches. You need a larger player base to reach into. So that's a big deal for them as well. They also announced okay, so you look at the guest characters in previous games, and it's Hao Maru, Nakaruru, the ambassadors of Samurai Showdown. Totally. They showed up in Capcom
Makes
versus
perfect sense.
SNK. They showed up in the last KOF. No questions there. The most popular two. Darlie fucking Dagger is getting that third slot? My weird pick, my weird offside pick, is getting slot 3? What?
That makes sense actually, because it's like classic weirdo as the
I'm
rep.
I can't like I'm super surprised by that. That is a fucking awesome pick. I'm glad that she's liked well enough to be able to get that spot because, like I said, the first two are ambassadors. You know what I mean? That's like Street Fighter characters are guesting in Tekken. Let's hope Ken,
Yeah.
Ryu, Makoto.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, wait, what? Or even Ryu, Chun Li, Alex,
Yeah.
or fucking Yang. You know, like just
Calls them.
what? Oh, okay. If she, I hope that I'm looking forward to seeing how they translate those buttons into the game. I doubt they will have the put the sword down mechanic, but it would be really cool if they did. In the
She
meantime,
might do it as an animation in her super.
could be. But yeah, that's a really fun pick. So I don't know, man. There's definitely this possibility of yes, Team Woolly Waifus, with good old Darlie Dagger, Vanessa, and Ash Crimson. So I'm excited. We'll see how the synergy
Was
plays
he
out.
back?
Oh, Ash is back.
Oh, I thought he was fucking erased from history.
Oh no. The collapsing of verse brought back many from the dead, including
Shut
Ash
up.
Crimson.
Shut your mouth. I hate it.
Bon voyage. So that's what's going on over there. Skullgirls, they showed off. It's funny because Skullgirls is like I mean it's
It's that old fighting game from a million years ago.
It's had rollback forever. It's had all those
Yep.
features you've wanted forever. So what are they announcing? Well, Black Dahlia. They showed off another trailer of her gameplay. So one of the cool characters from that list, that giant list of cool characters,
list.
still going back to it. All these years later, they're still going back to the big list of cool characters from that Kickstarter. And Marie, the final boss, the Skullgirl, is also announced to be coming soon, which is cool. I hope they didn't show off any gameplay, and I hope that is indicative of the fact that they're doing more than just converting her boss thing to a playable form, because she didn't have like a ton of original moves, just like a bunch of borrowed stuff in there. I would hope that she's getting a full unique thing, and the effort they put in on every other character as well seems like they wouldn't skimp out here either. So
I wouldn't worry about it too much.
yeah, playable Marie coming through the Skullgirl. That's good. I like that.
Is it portrayed as like the start of a new season with Marie coming back or something?
I didn't get that impression. I got that more just like Second Encore and Mobile are being pushed together now. Like the logo for Skullgirls now says Second Encore and Mobile. It's more like because with Hidden Variable in the picture developing for both cases, they're pushing the both versions of the game. But it's kind of like we're coming back to life with another season of content, so that's very cool. Black Dahlia is got all the stuff you'd expect from a 20s prohibition flapper style era character. The long cigarette in the holder, falling back onto the big lounge chaise, and big fucking Patriot style gun as well. Very cool. They then announced that Dragon Ball fucking Fighters is getting rollback.
So the way that was announced was absolutely hilarious. Did you see the full announcement?
I saw the clip where the producer went up on stage and basically just mentioned it in
Okay,
segments.
so the producer, she comes up on stage and she's with her translator and she's talking at length about how they feel the game is in its best state, so there's no plans on more characters and no plans on any more balanced patches. And then the translator says all of that in English. And then she goes on at length, and even and people, it was very, I couldn't understand a single thing. And then she gets all the way to the end of it and just says the word rollback, and the crowd starts to go nuts.
That's like
And then
everyone's just waiting to hear that word.
she finishes, and then she's laughing, and then the translator goes, okay, so we all know what she said, but I'm still going to translate it anyway, okay?
Yeah.
And so then he translates the
Yeah.
whole statement.
Okay, now asterisk. Rollback. There's also ports coming to current gen. Rollback implemented in the ports for PS5 and Xbox X.
And the PC re-release.
So I'm guessing it's going to be a Game of the Year kind of edition with all with DLC included.
Yeah, I
You
believe
know,
so.
it's needed that for a while now, so it makes sense because like there's a solid fucking what you pull that game up and you don't have any of the season's DLC on them,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like less than half of the. I think a third of the roster is the original launching roster, and then two-thirds are DLC characters, right? So it's needed the full, championship edition, whatever you want to call it, thing. Yeah, 3 seasons of DLC. It's a lot. So that's it's nice that you're gonna get that bundled, but it's not backwards patching rollback for PS4 or
No.
versions of the game. So
Now they say that you can upgrade the versions, probably free or some minor fee.
with
Uh,
each respective
these,
one that you own, I suppose.
yeah. Uh, I'm fascinated by what's going to happen to that game because there's a lot of people who can't feasibly play it or played it for a while and then stopped. Um, like, I haven't played that game since like the fucking first season. It might as well be a completely different fucking game at this point.
So I retweeted this video. Let me get the credit to the right person here because it's really good. Red Muffler Man on Twitter, who just made this clip of the intro of Vegito fusing together, and he flips in and he goes, "All right, rollback is here, baby." And then Krillin goes, "Ha, ha, ha," and then does his fall
falls
over
over.
intro. Yeah, goes, "Oh man, I haven't played this game since season 2." So yes,
That game's
everyone
gonna get a
can
new
relate.
lease on life, and part of that lease on life is gonna be just getting fucking annihilated by anybody that's still playing the game at all.
Yes, that is what happens in Marvel like 3v3 hyper insane games. And then all of you can learn to hate Labcoat 21 as well. But first things first, you can actually get matches that feel good online. So, yeah, that is nice to know. And considering that, like, so many people, like, again, PS5s are still a fucking problem. XXs, I don't know who has one. It's thank God.
You have one.
Yes, I have one. But thank God the PC version is getting it as well. So, like,
Yeah.
okay, something that people have will be good to go.
Now they
So
said that the system requirements are going to go up with the PC re-release
did they?
because
Okay,
yeah, the minimum needs more juice because of the rollback.
sure, sure. Yeah, those extra juicy threads. Well,
Needs more threads.
I'm that game is another one that, like, just like Sam's show, like, desperately needed it, and otherwise is just like it's nice that it doesn't have to die a dirty death in a ditch, you know?
Dragon Ball Fighters is probably my like, despite the fact that I stopped playing it relatively soon, it was probably my favorite fighting game overall. And I don't even really care for 3v3. It's just like everything about it is so fucking good, and the roster is so fucking perfect. But every time I went online, it's just made me sad. Made
I
me
mean,
sad.
I was watching those top eights, and I was watching all the way here at the end of the balance of the game. 16 still getting those dunks in, and I'm like, God, yes! Like, it's still
They added more
viable.
Gokus in the DLC so that he could dunk more Gokus.
Yo, Wawa, just still getting those dunks in. I'm glad he's, I'm happy to see it when you make it all the way through to the end, man. So yes, Dragon Ball is fucking saved. We got also I mentioned Team Samurai for KOF, but they also even spilled a little bit more and went, by the way, Shingo and Kim are coming to KOF as well. So just artwork, no in game, but kind of characters that should be there for sure.
I'm sorry, did you say Kim is coming to KOF?
Kim Capuan is confirmed for King of Fighters.
What kind of fucking trash game are we playing?
What are we
Kim
doing?
Capuan is not there.
What are we doing? Yes. And Shingo Yabuki, the student, the forever student, is confirmed as well. Two fucking like absolute roster staples in my opinion. Anyway, we'll see. Kim should be, because we've gotten Team Kim's family, right?
Yeah.
But we what we want is Team Other Kim's family. Like
The kids.
we want the kids. We want the kids. So yeah.
But Woolie, nobody cares about Garo. Nobody knows about Garo. Garo's dead. Nobody cares.
Man. I mean, I think the right response is just Maximilian just ah! Like the artwork is like just like the same like light and shading, like the same style as the original poster. Kane in the background, like the timing of this, right when they found the data disk of the assets for the original Garo, like I don't know.
It's suspicious.
I don't know how sussy Baka this Mr. K is with the timing of, hey, let's show you all the stuff about Garo 2 right before the real Garo 2 gets announced.
Oh, fuck.
But God damn it.
I don't want to hear that.
I am that's the crazy one, really. Because Fatal Fury, Garo Densetsu, Real Bout, whatever. Terry Bogard as his own franchise, like, main, that's dead.
Yeah.
King of Fighters is what Terry Bogard belongs to now.
Yes.
His world is, like, that shit was gone. Holy fuck.
Southbound got nuked off the map, dude.
And KOF alternate reality, that's the only version we talk about, We're actually going back to it. And rather than put Rock Howard in the base roster of KOF, we're just going to give him his own game again. You know what? I was thinking about how, like, I talked about how I much would have preferred if Rock took over when, instead of Shun'ei, when the time came for the new protagonist. Never in a million years. It would never in a million years happen. It would be awesome, but it would never happen. But here we go. The follow-up. We get to find out what happens. According to the fucking lore, Rock Howard should be evil at this point in time. Right? If we're moving forward in the Garo timeline. And the poster has Kane R. Heinlein standing right behind him in the lights, that shadowy figure.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're going to be committed to following that storyline through. that should be interesting, you know?
So what you're saying is that in Fatal Fury, nature beats nurture every time.
In this context, but we all think that it's like it's not necessarily nature beating nurture. It's more like Kane walks up to him and goes, "If you don't join me, like no, join me. I know where your mom is. Your mom's still alive, right?"
Yeah.
That's the thing. So Rock's like, "Well, fuck it, Terry, you're cool, but that's my mama. So time for me to learn how to do some bigger double repukens. It's time for me to learn how to do an air fireball, and maybe even a third style of counter. If his moveset gets
What?
better as a result
What?
of him embracing the evil, that'd be the sickest shit ever. It's like, oh no, he turned bad and now he's actually strong. Now he's not one of the worst characters in his own game.
What if he's even worse? What if he's like
Man.
the Sean of his own game? Oh, that
Nah,
would make me happy.
nah. I think Stocks and Geese Howard are higher than ever. Tekken has
That's
brought
true.
Tekken
That's
has
true.
brought a full appreciation of Geese Howard to many that didn't before. So I'm hoping we get even more of that Geese moveset coming out. But you want to see a little bit of that light of like, oh, but he's still got a little Terry in him, you know? I want Terry to be absolutely beyond too old for this shit. Like, what happens when you're already at that phase and you go even further, right? I want Terry to be done. Just absolutely done with all the bullshit.
You want him to be Ken.
I mean, like, it seems like Terry is, like, too happy of a guy to ever fully go. Because Ken is sad because of his fall from grace. But Terry has always slept in a pile of pizza boxes. He's never had that high life. So
You're right.
Terry's fine on the streets, man.